Okay, this video is a viewer. Might butcher your name, but Mountain Kilma asked me a question. He wanted to know if I had a video on injecting dye. What is the proper way? And I don't think I really made a proper way one, or there is no real proper way. There's many different kind of dye injectors. Here's just two of them. So you have the metal cylinder one, is actually my preferable one. This is if you were going to store oil for a long time and you didn't go through oil often. Moisture doesn't go through metal. This is my least preferred method, but since I go through one of these every day, because I do so many cars, that the oil never stays. And I go through, by the end of the week, this will be empty. These will not sit more than a week. But actually, these are different oils, but I reuse the dye injector. And this is not my go-to dye. This is my backup I keep underneath my seat in case I run out of my go-to dye. I do have videos where I say use the Tracer Line product dyes. And this is the sticker you get when you get the Tracer Line dye. And like I put my name, the date when I do the job and everything, and a work order number up in here, so I know if a customer calls me back 4 years later, they say, hey, you worked on my vehicle, what did you do? We have some more work to do it. Can you tell me something? I could just look up my work order number in the QuickBooks, and what I use for my accounting and software and estimates, my invoicing, my billing and everything like that. So get back to the dyes. Here's a dye, AC Extend, and this actually has one of those super bells and whistles, wear reducers. I know which one they're using, which is pretty good. I put it in my own vehicle as a tester years ago when this stuff came out. I threw this and tracer dye, so I have a double dye content in all my personal vehicles, because I always test out products in my cars first for a few years before I put them on customers' cars. I am the guinea pig, not my customers. So let's get over to here to a simple method. So here is a injector, dye, and actually I have this one. I refill these, so I have this proportionally mixed with dye with the refrigerant oil for whatever kind of oil. So if I need 125 viscosity, 46 viscosity, 68 viscosity, 100 viscosity, ester oil, PVV oil, PEG oil, ND11 oil for these compressors, the 14, ND14, ND, just barrage of them. There's no reason to just use one universal oil. So here we go. Let's see if I could do this one-handed. Okay, so regular caulking gun that they oversell you price-wise by this company, SP Tor or something, Torn? I don't know what it is, but actually 50-cent caulking gun. Let me get it off here because I'm doing this all on one hand. Let's get this here. There. Now I already started this. This was one I condemned a condenser on, and so the condenser was already replaced. Actually, I'm releasing. This is the video that needs the compressor, everything. This is going to get flushed. Expansion valve, and it's so old. It might be cheaper if there's a whole complete kit available to get an entire new AC system in a kit, instead of buying each individual component separately, and you'll get all the hoses and everything with it at the same price of buying all the components separately, and even controls if it's available. Okay, so let's get back to this. I already started my vacuum, so take that off. This one's just using a plain old dye injector. You've seen a million of them by a million different companies. There's nothing special. It's just a caulking gun. And actually this one is getting worn out. And hold on a minute. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to hold this and use two hands. Let's see. Let's use one hand. Come on. I'm having an issue here. Hey, my caulking gun's giving me trouble. Okay, actually, because I have it a vacuum, it just took down the oil. So, get that back up. You just attach that on there, push your caulking gun handle, and I just had one of my units. I have a backup of one of these inside my car, but this one just failed. How's that? Well, I've had it for a few years. Okay, but let's see what we got here. That was a bad video and explanation of how to put in dye. But as you can see, there's a dye down in there, and as I can see from my bubble that's in there, is actually because it's under suction. It actually drew in the oil needed in the system. So a very bad video on how to install dye, and no editing, leaving mistakes. That's it. This is my go-to. I like these things. I like these things too. This one, if you have a very expensive oil and you don't do many systems, say you only do air conditioning once a week or something like that, and you wanted a dye injector, I like metal. I like all oils to be inside metal. But if you're super high volume, you have 8-10 guys from you, you're doing 20-30 cars a day or something like that, these are fine. And you could use any of the oil manufacturers. AC Delco makes caulking guns, cylinders of their oils and stuff. There's several OEM manufacturers that release their OEM style dyes. You get them through AC Delco. You have Ford has the little metal cans. Will have your PEG double end cap and a few of the other oils and Denso oils in them under the Ford brand label from Motorcraft. Yeah, that's about it. So just use something like that. Use something like that. I also have the ones that had the little dye injectors with the little cylinders, and you crank it down and it has a threaded rod. Those all broke on me. All the plastic broke and everything, and you're spending a fortune for those little individual cartridges. If you look back in my videos, you see I buy 1 quart, 32 ounces of UV trace dye at a time, and I go through those like every month or two. 5 milliliters does a whole car. That's all you need. Your concentration of oil to car is only 5 milliliters. Very small amount. It's super concentrated, and that tells you how many cars I go through if I go through a quart every month or two. So yeah, it could get pretty ridiculous. But if you're a large shop and you have 10-20 guys and you're running a lot of cars through there every day, buy everything in bulk. Buy your dye by the quarts. You'll save money. Buy everything by cases. Don't buy them individually. So if you're high volume, buy by cases. Get a pallet. When you buy refrigerant, buy a pallet. It's much cheaper if you buy a pallet. Here in California, United States, if you make a contract decision with somebody to buy a pallet, you buy guaranteed 10 pallets, and you get a really good break at 10 pallets. And that's another way of getting for refrigerant too. Buy both. All right, that's it on this. Just use something simple.